This is a 10-inch modular wheel, and it's paired with a 250 by 275 tire. Now this is a split rim, and because of that, I'm going to need an inner tube for it. Now this is a tubeless tire, but going to need the inner tube. Now I don't mind having an inner tube in there for the added convenience of getting the tires on and off this rim without having to wrestle it on this rim and pry up the edges. And this is a drum sprocket, and it pairs with drum brakes. It's a 60 tooth with 30 chain. Now this sprocket kills two birds with one stone. You can accelerate with it and decelerate it. So it's all the convenience just packaged in this small little tight wheel. Now this wheel isn't really specific for any mini bike. You can use it on anything, that's why it's called a modular wheel. For this build, it's gonna look kind of weird. This tire is about 4 inches smaller than that tire over there, than the original tire. So yeah, it's gonna look off. Now I'm going with this setup because I know this will survive that engine. I could buy another one of those tires from someone that has another chopper bike, but the problem is those spokes are just too weak, and I really don't want to deal with those dang spokes. They're a headache to deal with. This wheel will not be as much of a headache. In fact, it's really convenient. Alright, here's my tensioning system. As these bolts tighten, this will pull the axle back. It's very crude, but I just worked with the materials that I just had, so this still should be very effective at tensioning. Back end is done. I'm done with all that. It doesn't look as bad with that tire in the front. I still kind of like those big tires. That's because the frame was originally designed around those bigger tires, not these small guys. But it doesn't look as ridiculous. So I got an inner tube for that tire. This tire looks okay. Doesn't look like I need to replace anything on it. The spokes are okay, they're not bent either. It's not a whole lot of wobble in that, but certainly for sure not as much as wobble as that big tire had. I don't think I'm gonna move the pegs up a little bit. They look fine where they're at. I have just enough tilt on this thing where it might be okay. I think the exhaust is okay where it's at too. I don't have to cut and shorten it up. There's just a little bit of tilt on it. I can lean on this just a little bit and it'll be okay. I just gotta remember not to tilt this thing too much or else I will hit the ground with those pegs. Some mini bikes, some go-karts, whatever it is, they have slots. Even the engine plates have slots so you can slide the engine back and forth. Sometimes if you don't crank down on those super tight, the engine will actually pull itself loose. And I think that's what happened with the wheel that I had originally. It pulled itself forward and the chain was able to get real loose on top of the initial stretching of the chain. That's how I was able to pop off real easy. But this will mitigate that. The engine can't pull it forward because it's bolted down here. I probably could have bought a chain adjuster, but I had the hardware, so I went and made it myself. Yeah, everything's pretty much on here. I got the 35 chain, I just got to put on the 35 sprocket on the jack shaft and this thing will be a roller. Except for one problem. That's a major problem. So the brakes are binding on this drum sprocket here. Now this backing plate is on here really straight. When I cut the spacers, I made sure to cut them as straight as possible so it's not tilted a little bit. Even if this thing was tilted just slightly a little bit, it shouldn't really affect it that much. But as you could tell, I think the drum sprocket is warped. Yeah, you can see it's kind of warped a little bit. Now there's no way to adjust the shoes inside here. It's not adjustable. So I don't know how to remedy this other than just returning it and getting a new one. I'm probably going to have to do that. Even if I went and shaved down a little bit of the lining, I'd still have a vibrating, pulsating brake. I wouldn't want that. I'll fix that problem somehow. But other than that, this thing is a rider. Like I said, I don't think I'm gonna move the pegs if I don't have to. So I'm just gonna leave them where they're at. If it becomes a problem, then I'll go ahead and move it. But as of right now, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. In the next video, I'm gonna put the chain on. I'm not gonna bother recording it or doing some minor, like hooking up. I keep forgetting to hook up the kill switch on it, but I'll get that hooked up too. Yeah, in the next video, I'm just gonna ride this thing. I'm not gonna bother recording all the little stuff that I do on it. But as of right now, I am done, at least as much as I can do right now until I get a new one or find a way around that. So with that, I'll see you in the next one.